computer. Okay, so we are now recording. So welcome to the Stephen and Live. Oh, Christine. Yeah. Stephen and Walter live Zoom Christmas party extravaganza. Yay!
Yay!
And there's Christine, who probably thinks we were all applauding for her. We were. Yes. Christine's here. So, okay, so let's go around with some introductions because in case people don't know each other, so you know us. So let's start with Anita and Keith. So tell us your names, tell us where you're from, and tell us if this was a normal year, how would you be celebrating Christmas?
Okay, I'm Anita,
I'm Keith.
and we live in Tip City, Ohio. If it was a normal year, Christmas Eve, we would be at my stepmom's house with family.
Mhm.
We always had the big family thing on
Big.
Christmas Eve. And Christmas Day was usually quieter, just us, maybe another couple. And that's kind of what we would have done.
Yeah, about the size of it.
Yeah.
So this year, with the exception of Christmas Eve, it's going to be about the same for you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this
Yeah.
year, our oldest son is in the Air Force in Las Vegas, and he had not been home in 3 years. So he was going to come home, and that's not happening right now.
No.
And then the youngest one is 31, and he only lives like 10 minutes away, but still, because of COVID,
Have to be careful.
yeah.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend's father has cancer, and because Keith had COVID,
Yeah.
in November,
Mhm.
we're still just nervous about.
Yeah, rightly so.
No.
Spreading it, yeah.
Yeah, rightly so. You know.
Yeah.
Why do
So,
you-
yeah. So the plan is, Josh, I'm going to start cooking on Wednesday night and Christmas Eve. I'm going to, bake the ham and or plate up, box up food to
For them-
send
for them to
home
take, yeah.
and their gifts. And then our Josh is going to come and pick up the gifts and the food and come in, mask on, and visit with us just a little,
For a little bit, yeah.
to pick up stuff. And then it's just us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So
Well, better safe than sorry.
better,
Yeah.
right.
I'm very
I think
grateful.
I think a lot of people are just going to be us kind of a
Yeah,
thing
that's
this
true.
year. But
Right.
there's always next year. So you
Oh,
know,
Well,
yeah.
that's true, absolutely.
absolutely.
And
it's not
I'm
the
very-
absolute end of the world yet. It just feels like it.
Oh
You
no,
got it. You got it.
no, we're fine.
We're fine. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, Keith, how's your recovery been?
My recovery's actually been fairly decent. The biggest symptom was just a cough that just kept getting worse, a dry cough, and worse and worse. And Anita's nurses light lit up, says, "Call the doctor."
Good thing.
So, doctor sent me down for a COVID test. Got it that afternoon. Got the results back the
3 days later.
3 days later, and
He's
he put
doing
me-
well.
Yeah, I'm doing
That's
well.
good. Yeah.
Enough. I went out for a run today, so
Okay, well that's good. Well, I'm glad to
yeah,
hear it.
I'm very blessed to have my health. It was very minor.
One of the lucky ones.
Yes, very, very lucky.
Lucky.
Considering
Yep.
our age.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Yes.
So, let's go on to Jeannie. You got your microphone. You have to mute yourself, dear.
Okay.
Okay, so Jeannie, tell us who you are, Jeannie, where you're from, and what would you be doing for Christmas if it wasn't COVID?
Okay, I'm Jeannie. I am from Fairfax, Virginia, and I'm Andy's sister, who's usually on. And Christmas usually is Christmas Eve with my son and my grandchildren. And we have a Secret Santa event, and I always bake cookies, and we decorate the cookies. And then we listen to music, and we just laugh and have a wonderful time. So that's our typical Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day, they are with their mother.
Okay. So it's just going to be you on your lonesome then?
Maybe, or my son might be here.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's why you're wearing the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. Okay, well, I'm glad that you're going to have something. So
Oh, it'll be fine.
that's good. Okay, so thank you. And let's go to Virginia. And I'll just put you in the spotlight. So Virginia, oops, I've got both of you now. Okay, I'll get this right. Just a minute. Give me a second. Okay, replace spotlight. That's the one I want. Go for it. There we go. We got you.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
up there. Well, usually it's my daughter and son, and I have 2 granddaughters, and we usually meet on Sunday, or I'm sorry, on Christmas afternoon, because they have to have Santa Claus come to their house. So
Oh,
we
right.
do all of our gift exchange in the afternoon and then have dinner here usually.
Right.
But my husband is on chemo, and so we just felt, it was better for us to stay isolated. And so we're going to do Zoom on Christmas afternoon.
That's a really good thing that we have Zoom. I'm sure I
Oh,
should
yeah.
have bought stock in Zoom, though. I'm telling you. Because,
Really?
yeah, I'm sure that it's gone up right, like out
Mhm.
the roof, kind of a thing. So, and where are you, Virginia?
Oh, I'm not that far from Anita. I'm in Cincinnati.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The rest of our families are up in Toledo. So, when my mother was still alive, we used to make that trip every Thanksgiving and every Christmas. No matter what the weather
Wow.
was, we'd head up 75 and go visit everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so you kind of passed Tip City along the way.
Right.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Well, that's great. So, okay, well, thank you, Virginia. And let's go to Jody. And let's see if I can do this the right way this time. And replace spotlight. And Jody's on the air.
So I'm Jody. I'm from Colorado, and I'm Miss Purple Potato on YouTube. And a normal Christmas would be, I have just one son. He's married with 2 boys, ages 5 and 3. So I would go on over to their house, and my daughter-in-law's family would come over. So it'd be pretty big.
Do they live in the same
My husband.
town?
Pardon me?
Do they live in the same town?
Yeah, Parker, Colorado, and they're about 20 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
So that's convenient. I watch the boys once a week, and the 5-year-old is my dancing partner. And I teach him some moves, and he teaches me some moves, and have a great time with the boys. And I'm a little nervous because my back has been hurting for the past 4 days. However, I've been baking a lot, so I'm trying to not freak out about it. I did hear that Ellen DeGeneres tested positive for COVID, and it started with back pain, but mine's not excruciating. She was saying hers hurt like hell, and I don't have that. So just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna get tested Tuesday at 7 a.m. So I'm sure it's nothing. I'm extremely careful.
Yeah.
I wash my groceries before bringing them in the house. I order groceries, which I never did in the past, and pick up and order from Amazon. So I stay out of stores. So I'm just puzzled. I'm thinking it's bending over a lot in the kitchen. That's what I'm.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe because I know I get that when I'm in my sewing room, if I'm standing and cutting fabric for a length of time, I have a sore back too from it. So let's just hope that's all it is.
Yeah, because I'm healthy as a horse otherwise.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, better to get the test just to be sure.
Yeah,
But it's probably, as you said, just from standing, on your feet all day cooking away. So
yeah.
Yeah, and everybody nowadays, as soon as you get something,
you assume it's COVID.
you kind of worry that.
Yeah.
It might be, right?
Yeah,
Put that down.
So hopefully everything will be fine and
Yeah.
that'll be great. Okay, thank you, Jody. And let's go to Marilyn and
Yeah, let me
play
get-
spotlight. There we go, Marilyn. You're in the spotlight. Where are you from?
I am
Yeah.
southwestern suburbs of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And what have you got? What would you have been doing for Christmas if this stupid thing we've got going on right now wasn't happening?
We usually go to my daughter's, and I have 4 daughters and 7 grandchildren. So we have,
Oh.
a large family. And I'm not doing it this year. It's going to be another Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
But I've got their gifts and everything, and I think we're just going to drop them off at the door, say hello, put your
Yeah.
mask on, and go with that, because I don't want to risk it.
Drop and run.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's Christmas, everybody usually gets together, but when, if things get a little bit better, you can make a special date then instead
Yeah.
and see them, so.
We can have Christmas in July or
Yeah.
whatever. Or
Right.
next September, whatever it would be. But actually, I think in some ways, I think a lot of people, when we get to the point where we can go back to normal, we've all had the vaccination and everything, I think there's going to be a lot of parties making up
Yeah.
for lost time at that point. But we don't want to be too premature on that. We've got hope coming, but we want to stay healthy so we can see that time when we can do all of that again. And Dana Lee is here, so we'll meet her. So thank you. And Christine, I'm going to put you in the spotlight. And Christine, and where are you from? And what are you doing for Christmas?
Hi, everyone. I'm from a small town called Corsham, which is in the county of Wiltshire, and that's southwest of England.
Oh,
It's near, I was born in Bath. A lot of people know Bath because it's a
we've
a
been to that.
well-known city, but yeah, I was born there, and then I moved out to Corsham and had my children in Corsham. What else was I going to say? I'm retired. I've actually been retired since I was about 40. Not
Nice.
for any other reason than
You want to be
I didn't
retired?
want to go to work, really.
Yeah.
My husband asked me to, or I gave up work to go to Australia because my husband was going to open an office there, and then all that got cancelled. And so I'd worked from the age of 14. So he said, "Look, don't bother about going and getting another job. You've worked since you were 14, so have a break." So I'm still on that break.
And how many years has this break been?
27
now?
years later. Sorry,
How many years has this break been?
27 years now.
Oh yeah. Well, that's
But
it's.
I've
it's
taken
fun.
it. I took up pottery when I left work, and I've got my own studio now, and I make quite a lot of dishes and coffee mugs and well, you name it. I make it for family and friends. I don't sell any of it. I'm
That's
not.
what I was going to ask you if you sold it. But
No, not really. I'm not a production potter.
Oh, right.
Also, if you're going to sell, you need to make a stock.
Yeah.
It's the same with quilting. You can't just have one quilt and sell it. If you were going to have a stall, you need 20 quilts. And I'm not good at having commissions. I find that much too stressful.
Yeah.
When somebody's telling you, I want this and I don't want that and I want something else, and I'm so stressed by it, I can't do that. So, and also I've got a large family, and as soon as it comes out of the kiln and it goes on the shelf, my family come in and they see it and they take it away with them. So I don't even get to see it myself very much. Sewing is the same. Quilting, I do quilts, and that's the same. If my family come over, oh, that's nice, what you're going to do with that one. And I said, well, I don't know really, because you never know what you're going to do with all these things, you know. So I said, well, I don't know. Oh, can I have it? You know, so they get that one and other bits. One thing I was going to tell you about Christmas is I'm one of 10 children, and I worked out one year that my mother, who absolutely adored Christmas, and she would work non-stop over Christmas to make everything just so for the children, us and her grandchildren. And even to the extent that one year she collapsed on Christmas Eve.
Oh.
And when the doctor came out, the doctor said that she was suffering from exhaustion and malnutrition.
Oh, geez.
And that was because she was staying up nights baking. She was on her knees scrubbing the floors because the grandchildren were coming. She knew the grandchildren were coming and they were crawling at that age, you know, they were on the floor. So she would scrub the floor on her hands and knees to make sure that the floor was clean for the children to crawl around on. And in the end, she collapsed with exhaustion and malnutrition, which just absolutely floored us because, you know, she shouldn't have been doing that much.
No.
Anyway, I've just worked out, she made, over her lifetime, she made 126 stockings for us children.
Oh, geez.
And when I worked it out, this was going back I mean, my mum's been dead now since 96, so this is obviously going back some years. But when I worked out how many stockings that she'd done and how much shopping she would have had to have done and how much wrapping she would have to have done with these 10 children all those years, I worked out it was 126 stockings that she'd done.
Oh.
So that year I did her a stocking, and I bought one of these big Santa red and white stockings and filled it with all the small things, you know, like talcum powder and soap and nail varnish and, you know, warm socks and all those different things. And so that was the first time I think she'd had a proper stocking, because back in her day, she would have had an orange and an orange and a few nuts, I think, and that was her stocking for their Christmas.
Yeah. Well,
So yes, we had fabulous Christmases, absolutely fabulous, and I try to carry on the tradition that my mum had. We follow her ways. Well, all the family do actually. We all follow how mum had her Christmas. We now have our Christmases. I've had as many as 22 round my Christmas table.
oh, geez.
A few years back, we had 22 people sit down for Christmas lunch. So this year, I've just got my brother coming. And my brother lives on his own.
So
He's quite a few years old. He's about 6 years older than me. And he lives on his own, and he's got a heart condition. So I'm his next of kin. So, because I don't know whether you know, the regulations for the COVID now here have changed, and we were supposed to be able to have guests for 5 days over Christmas. They've now changed it for 1 day, so you can have somebody come in the morning and then they have to go by the evening. They can't stay overnight. So of course everybody's in a flat panic now, reorganizing their Christmases,
Right.
buying food or trying to get presents to people that they're not now going to see. Anyway, because I'm Derek's next of kin, he is allowed to come to me he's coming on Christmas Eve and he's going on the 2nd of January. And that's part of the restrictions. He's allowed to do that within the restrictions. So that's what he's going to do. But that's the only visitor that we're going to have. But there's still going to be 12 of us. Oh no, 11 of us around the table. So it's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
It is going to be
Sounds
fun.
like fun. Yeah. The more the merrier,
Yeah.
they say on that. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for that. That was really interesting. So
Sorry, once I get talking, I keep going.
it's okay. We don't mind because if you don't keep going, we will. but I see there's Dana Lee is here, so we're going to put Dana Lee in the spotlight. And Dana, you got to turn off your mic or turn on your microphone.
I'm
there you go.
all set and ready to go. Hello, everyone.
So Dana,
Hi.
tell
Hi.
everybody where you're from because not everybody knows you like we do. And what would you be doing for Christmas if we didn't have COVID?
Hi, I'm Dana Lee Tisdale. I live in today's snowy Regina, Saskatchewan. We had some snow earlier, and now it's sunny, which is really nice. And what would I be doing? I think this year I would have gone back to Ontario, where my 93-year-old mother resides. And my sister, I have 3 younger sisters. My middle sister and her husband kidnapped my mother about a month ago from we call it the landlocked cruise ship. It's a beautiful seniors complex that overlooks Lake Ontario, downtown Toronto, and a suburb called Brampton Center. And they took her up to their to the lake house, you can only imagine. And she has been with Chuck and Lori for about a month. And the last 3 days, we are now getting reports that there is COVID amongst the residents and the staff of the location that she has been living in. So she is safe and sound.
Right.
And I would have gone to Ontario this year to spend time with my family.
What? That's
However,
Yep.
I'm in Regina,
Yep.
home alone, 1 dog, 2 cats.
Well, at least you got a full house. Well, they're all
I have a
Yeah.
full house, yes.
with that. Well, that's good. Well, anyways, we'll just make the best of all of this. So, anyways, now where does you said where your mother lives? Where does your sister live in Ontario?
I have 3 sisters. One lives in near Haliburton, Ontario.
Yep.
The other is in Brantford, Ontario.
Brantford, yeah.
And the other is in Shakespeare, Ontario.
Oh yes. Shakespeare, Ontario has a great little quilt store. I've been to it a couple of times on my way to Stratford, which is where the Shakespeare Festival is every year.
And
Yep.
you probably drove right past the best little pork shop.
Yep.
Yep, that was my sister and my brother-in-law's.
Oh, okay.
That's where they live, but someone else has bought the business, but that's
See, 6 degrees of separation. And if we didn't
Yeah.
absolutely.
that. Well, that's great. Okay.
So if you're ever driving, if Stratford ever picks up again
Mhm.
and you're driving by, don't hesitate to stop in and say, "Hi, I know your sister."
Yeah.
And
They'll
they'll
probably
say,
look at me funny and go, "Oh yeah, really? She's a
Yeah.
they'll ask which one.
Oh yeah, of course." Oh, may just do that someday.
That
So-
would be good.
So I see Andy is here, but Andy disappeared. Hey, Andy.
In she
Andy,
comes.
it's your turn here. Put you in the spotlight.
Hi.
Andy,
Hi,
where
Andy.
are you from, and what would you have been doing if this hadn't been COVID this Christmas?
Well, when Jeannie and I both are from Washington D.C. by way of other places. Our dad was in the army, so we moved around a little bit. But I've been living outside of in the Chicagoland area since 1979. I think I moved out here. Um, my ex-husband got accepted at the top 3 business schools in the country. He got accepted at Stanford, Harvard, and the University of Chicago and Wharton. So they were the top 4. And they offered him, he was offered a scholarship out here in Chicago. And the school actually paid to fly us both out so we could have a chance to look around. And when we landed at the smaller airport in the area, not O'Hare, I've already forgotten what the Midway. We landed at Midway because it was closer to the school. And we didn't land at a gate. We were sort of off the gate, and we had to go down the stairs and walk across the tarmac. And I'll never forget because it was a gorgeous day, and I walked down the steps, and my feet hit the ground, and I looked around, and it was like I felt like I had come home. And so I told him, I said, this is the place. I'd lived in, gone to school in Boston and never wanted to go back there. And California, Stanford wasn't offering him a scholarship, and Wharton would have been okay, but there was just something in the air. And I love being in the Midwest. And my family thinks I'm crazy. We're staying out here when the winter comes. Nobody wants to come and visit me in the winter. I don't know why. But I just love it out here. So what are you doing, Mitzi? I don't know if Mitzi's going to participate. So if it weren't for COVID, well, I might be doing just what I'm doing now. Because I have Mitzi now. Maybe I would have driven. Mitzi and I would have taken a road trip and gone back east to see Jeannie and our other sister Dale, who lives in New York. But now it's me and Mitzi.
Yep.
And
Next year. Hopefully. Okay, that's great. Now, did I get everybody? I don't think I missed anybody except Walter and I. So everybody knows who Walter and I are, obviously. And let me take you off the spotlight so you don't feel like we're all staring at you. You can stare at us there. Yeah, well, actually, this Christmas is not going to be that much different from the last 2 Christmas, except for the fact that usually on Christmas Day, if we're not going over to my sister's place for dinner, we usually have Walter's sister and her husband.
Yeah, the
and
last few
kids
years
over.
we've been having my family over, and actually when Steve's dad was still alive,
we
have his parents over for Christmas Day, but now his mom's in a nursing home. So the last couple of years, we just had my sister over, my sister and her husband and her daughter. Her daughter's not married, and
she's an unclaimed treasure.
And last year, my sister and brother-in-law and her daughter and her son and his wife and 2 kids came over. So we probably would have had them all over this year if it wasn't COVID. But I gave her a call and I said, we're not doing it this year. So.
And she was happy about that.
She's happy about that because she's older than me. She turned 70 this year. So. And her husband, I think, is about 72. So they're trying to keep to themselves. So, and I think she has seen her grandkids because my nephew decided to homeschool his kids this year, or not homeschool. They do online.
Yeah, they do online school
this year, so they haven't gone to school. So, and my nephew, his wife has worked from home all the time, and my nephew does have to go into his office once in a while, but it's pretty much isolated. There isn't a lot of people in his office, so yeah, they're keeping fairly safe. So
I mean, years ago when my father was still alive and my mother, of course, and they lived in their own house, my mom wasn't in the nursing home and that, they used to have a Christmas Eve party, and they used to have neighbors in and all of my family and all the kids and everything. They would have like 30 or 35 people packed in their rec room, and they did not live in a big house. And my mother would cook for days before that. And so she was usually pretty tired out by the time she had it, but she loved having it. And it was a big affair. It was a lot of fun. And then on Christmas Day, usually, well, Christmas Day was either we would go to their place, or as the years went on, more or less we'd have them here, or we'd be over at my sister's place. I have a brother, but my brother lives in Abbotsford, BC. So, but back when, before he moved out there, he's been out there how many years now? 12, 13? I don't know. Quite a few. The kids were little then, and they'd all be there too as well. But now what we do besides this Christmas isn't going to be that much difference, with the fact that your sister won't be over with everybody, kind of a deal. So it'll just be you and I staring at each other. Yeah. Actually, I may be doing a virtual sewing retreat on Christmas Day, because I belong to an online guild called Canadian Male Quilters. And the guy who organized that, he has said that he was thinking that maybe we should do a retreat that day, because there might be a lot of us that are alone or aren't, of course, able to get together with family, and it'd be something to do. And I haven't heard any more about it, whether we're doing it for sure or not, but a lot of people voiced an interest in it. So that'll be something. Then I don't have to stare at Walter all day. And of course, have to wait for the Queen's message, because that was a tradition in my family, and I still every year watch that too, listen to the Queen's message, which apparently she's been delaying the recording of it or something until, no, I think that was a joke. We heard that last night or something. I think that was supposed to be a joke until they figure out what they're doing with Brexit. But anyways, so yep, always listen to the Queen's message. Hello, my people. So, yeah, so that's what's going on with us too. So hopefully this time next year we'll all be in a better place. But having said that, let's play a game. So does everybody have a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil? I'll wait. Yep. Oh yeah, Anita, don't come prepared. Really.
Well, she's normally the prepared one.
I didn't realize.
Well, I hope this works, because I'm going to have to go to screen sharing for this. I'll just wait till Anita gets back here, because I don't want to start without her. Because she'll probably bitch at me if she that.
I want to know what the cocktails are.
Oh, tell them what ours is again.
They're cosmopolitan. They're cranberry juice, triple
We're
sec,
ready.
Okay.
and lime juice and vodka.
Sorry, lime juice and what?
Lime
Oh, and
juice,
vodka.
cranberry,
All right.
lime juice, cranberry juice, and triple sec, or it's an orange liqueur.
Yeah, because you could use Cointreau as well for it. Okay, first game. Now this one might be hard because of our age group. It's called Christmas Emoji, and you're gonna, everybody knows what an emoji is, right? Those little graphic things that people use on Facebook and text messages and everything all the time. Well, there are 9 of these, although you're going to see that it counts up to 10, because I ripped this off of the YouTube and they miscounted. So there's really only 9 here. But they'll have a number up at the top of the screen, and they're going to show you for a few seconds a set of emojis, and you have to guess and just write it down what you think the Christmas song is that these emojis are depicting. And we'll take them all up at the end, so don't shout out your answers. So I'm going to screen share here.
So it's a song, right?
It is a song. It is a Christmas song, but it's done in Christmas emojis. So here we go. Can everybody see it and hear it?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing this right. Well, I'm not looking at the note. There's that one. Oh, I got that one. Rock and roll, Australia.
Oh my word, they're going too fast.
Oh, okay. Oh, I get it.
Okay, I know that went by really fast, so you want me to do it again?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, everybody ready? Here's the second time around.
Oh.
What? No, you got it. I made 6. I don't know. I can't remember. You had 2. I've had 3. Okay. Microphone's on.
Oh, you know that one. I see. Mommy gets it.
Okay, so stop doing that. And there we're back. So now you're on an honor system here to mark your own. So I can give you the answers. You want me to just give them to you, or do you want to shout out an answer?
Just
You,
give it to us.
Okay, so number 1 was Jingle Bell Rock.
Hey.
Yay, Jingle Bell.
Did everybody get that one?
Yeah.
no,
Number 2 was Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Number 3, Little Drummer Boy.
Yes.
Number 4, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
yeah,
Yes.
Number 5, Let It Snow.
Oh,
oh,
Number
Yeah.
6, Rock Around the Christmas Tree.
Yes.
Yep.
Number
Yeah.
7, Santa Baby.
yeah.
Number 8, White Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes.
And number 9 and 10, because they miscounted, I Saw Mommy
Oh,
Kissing
Mom.
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Okay, did anybody
Yeah.
get all 10? Hands up if you got
No.
Anybody
Nope.
get 9? Nope. Anybody get 8?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Anybody else get 8 besides Anita and Keith?
No, I got 6.
Oh, Keith's playing separate. Okay. So it looks like the winner is Anita with 8 out of 9. Yay, Anita. And
Yay.
your gift is never coming.
What? Oh.
Just being the winner. And we'll always remember, it is not bad to lose, but it is glorious to win. Okay, so the other games that I have, which we'll come to in a bit, are a little bit harder than that one. That was just a warm up. So don't get too cocky, Anita. So, update on my mother, because what would a Stephen and Walter live in any form be without an update on my mother? Well, so on what day was it? Thursday. I had made arrangements to go over to the nursing home and drop off her gifts. I couldn't see her. I couldn't go into the building, but I made arrangements to take these gifts over. And also I made arrangements to swap out her quilt. She has, we have about 3 or 4 quilts that were made by my grandmother, her mother. They're old. They probably are 50, 60 years old. My grandmother did them all by hand. And really, there's something that means something, at least I thought they did, to my mother. I think they mean more to me than to my mother. But what I did when I could go visit my mother was I'd swap the quilt out every month to 6 weeks. I didn't want the nursing home washing them because, you know, they have those industrial washers and who knows what would happen to them, although they're pretty well built and they've been washed many, many, many times. But anyways, didn't want to take the chance. So I had told them that there. Well, I haven't been able to swap out her quilt in 8.5 months because we haven't been able to go physically into the building. So I got over there and I just knew something said in the back of my mind, this is going to get screwed up somehow. So went over and then you called the reception desk from outside from the cell phone. And one of the staff members came out. She took my mother's gifts and that they'll give to her on Christmas Day and everything. And I said, yeah, and I'm picking up her quilt as well. Oh, and there I thought, yeah, you probably didn't know that, did you? Probably didn't get the message. And they're really busy there. So, you know, things happen. She says, oh, okay. So I said, this is the new quilt to go on her bed. That one I'm going to take home and wash, the old one. So she said, okay, I'll be right back in a minute. So she went up to my mother's room. Took her about 10 minutes. She comes down and she hands me a bed runner. Now, I had forgotten that I had made a bed runner for my mother's bed some time ago, but that wasn't the quilt. The quilt she had was a full-size quilt, right? I said, nope, that's not it. Explained to her. Obviously, she was not a quilter, so it meant nothing to her. And I said, no, it's a full-size one. She says, oh, okay. So she says, just give me a minute. So she went up. A few minutes later, she comes back down and no quilt. They can't find it. Now, the ironic part of all of this was I talked to my mother on Wednesday, the day before, and I was telling her, Mom, I'm going to be coming over the next day to do this. And I can't see you, but she knew that. But I said, just so you know that they're going to switch out your quilt. So, you know, I don't think someone's stealing your quilt. But she said to me, oh, well, that's not on my bed. I said, what do you mean the quilt's not on your bed? Well, she says, I don't know where it is. I haven't seen it for a while. I think they may have taken it to wash it.
Oh,
But sometimes I never know what my mother tells me is really the truth or not. So I sent an email to the administrator of the nursing home. And I hated to bother her because she's been doing an excellent job keeping, you know, everybody safe in there. And she's busy as heck. And the stress level must be, you know, she doesn't need to really deal with a quilt kind of a thing in the big scheme of things. But I wrote her and said, you know, this is, my mother says it's probably not true. And she wrote back, just, I will go up and check immediately. I got an email back from her within half an hour or less saying, yeah, it's there. And I said, okay, that's great. I kind of figured it was, but my mother, you know, you never know. Well, it wasn't. My mother was right. It wasn't there. They can't find it.
She thought it was a bed runner.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what the administrator saw was the bed runner, and she just not being a quilt person, she just assumed it was a quilt, right?
Right.
So they're looking for it, but I think it's gone bye-bye. It has her name in it, but then she asked me if I could describe it. Well, actually, I couldn't. I couldn't remember what that one looked like.
I didn't have a picture.
And I didn't have a picture of it. And I do of the one that she's got on her bed now that I exchanged or was trying to exchange. But from now on, I'm going to be taking pictures of anything that goes in. I mean, it's probably on somebody else's bed because it probably did get washed, and they never even look at the name tags. They tell us to label everything.
Right.
But
Right.
whoever the wash people are that are there, they don't, I don't know if they can read, actually.
Yeah,
But
happens all the time.
Yeah,
I mean, my mother's lost clothing there, bras, so, you know, another quilt. But my mother doesn't seem to be that uptight about it. It's more me that's uptight about it. So I'm thinking, well, maybe it'll show up at some point in time. But I did say to my sister, what did you, my sister did the buying for my mother because it was mostly clothes she got her for Christmas. And I'm not sure what you get a lady for clothing. And so my sister went and bought all that and we shared the cost. And I wrote to my sister or texted her and told her what had happened with this. I said, can you tell me what gifts, what the clothes were that you got, Mom? Because I said, I'm going to ask Mom after Christmas Day, you know, did you get your gifts? And I'm going to ask her what she got just to make sure and whether I get the right story or not. But because my sister claims, she says she bought her clothes for my mother's birthday in August. And she says, I've never seen her wearing any of that stuff that I gave her. They always seem to be putting her in the old stuff. So I don't know.
You know, my mom was like that too. She only wore her old stuff.
Yeah. Well,
She never wore any of the gifts that we gave her.
Yeah, my mother used to be a clothes horse. You know, my mother was always dressed to the nines. In fact, she used to spend so much money on clothes that she'd wear an outfit once and take it to the consignment shop, you know, like they call it the nearly new, you know, a place that sells used clothing and stuff like that. And you get, you know, they get a percentage of whatever it sells for. Well, she used to take so much stuff over there all the time that she was a VIP. When I used to deliver it for her sometimes, and I'd go to the front of the line on the day there. Oh, Lorna Bland's clothes. Oh yeah, you're right here. You can put them right there. And she used to get top dollar for them all the time. Now it's like, you know, but I guess things change.
Yeah, but your mother couldn't afford clothes then either.
Well, no, she couldn't afford them then, but she bought them anyways. But that's a story for another day. But anyways, so my sister asked me today by text, you know, had I what was going on with the quilt? And I said, I don't know. I said, they're busy. They just had somebody, 3 cases. They had a test possibility of COVID. And so they're running around getting everybody again and the whole bit. But they sent out an email this morning saying that they got 104 results back so far, and they're all negative. And they're waiting until I think tomorrow the rest of the results will come. But they have not had any cases there.
Awesome.
Had a couple of false positives. But that's how good a job this place has done. And I just don't want to bother them with something, you know, like this when they're doing all these other things, you know, bigger worry. So basically, I'm just looking at it that maybe someday it'll show up. If it doesn't, is it the end of the world? Well, apparently to my mother, it's not. So why should it be to me? It's not like I don't have any quilts. Yeah, so that was the news on Mom, but she's actually doing okay. And they're doing lots of things at the nursing home with them. Like they had a Santa Claus parade in the nursing home because they had it on the same day when the town that she's in would have had their Santa Claus parade. And some organization donated all these bags of gifts for all the residents. So on Christmas Day, they're all going to get all these gifts, which I mean, most people there are getting gifts if they have family because we delivered them. We were given instructions on how to do that and everything for it. But I thought that was really quite nice.
There's always a few people in there that don't have any.
Yeah, I
family.
suppose. Yeah, they don't get anything, which is kind of sad. But anyways, and they were having a little happy hour not too long ago. I saw a picture of my mother on the Facebook thing they'd taken of her sitting up in her bed. She doesn't need to be in bed, but my mother likes to sleep a lot, especially in the afternoons. And there she was sitting up in bed with her cocktail glass And a little thing of cheesies, which are like her favorite. She loves cheesies. So, but they're all. And then I asked her, "So, Mom, what's new at the home?" Nothing. Same old, same old. It's just boring. I'm looking at all these pictures on Facebook going, "There's a party every day there," But that's my mother, So,
Yeah.
that's
Sure you-
that's life, and I hate to say it, but I'm not that disappointed that we're kind of locked away at Christmas here. You kind of understand where I'm coming from, deal. But I mean, it sounds kind of nasty, but you go over, my mother can't get rid of you too quickly. I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling there's a whole lot more going on in the background there at that nursing home. We're just kind of interrupting the flow. Don't know. But anyways, so yeah, I think we're going to play another game. And this one is a movie quiz, Christmas movie quiz. Now this one, they just give you some little things to read, clues, and you have to guess the name of the movie. Now there are 15 of them,
Oh,
and there is a trick in one of them. And I'm not going to say any more about it.
Trick.
So, everybody ready? We'll share the screen. And let's get the right thing here. We don't want that one. We want this one.
Oh, we got the name of that.
I've never seen it. No, only 15. There wasn't the original. I didn't know this one. I didn't know this one. I told you it would be hard.
yeah, that one was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go through it again or just not? Okay. That would be my vote too.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Does
here,
it count if we don't know the name of the show, but we know who the character is?
no, you lose.
Uh,
Try trying out. Nope, that's my game and that's not how we're playing it. Okay, number 1 was Elf. Number 2, Home Alone. Number 3, Santa. Walter said Drunken Santa, but
What was it? Bad Santa?
Bad Santa. I've never seen that one.
Yeah.
4, Scrooged. I love that one. Number 5, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Well, you'd have to live under a rock if you've never seen that one. 6, Polar Express.
Yay.
7, The Santa Claus. Number 8, Jingle All the Way. Number 9, An Old Chestnut, Miracle on 34th Street. Number 10, A Christmas Carol. Number 11, Love Actually. I've never seen that one.
I got it. I got it.
Oh, you did? I'll bet you it was a Hallmark one.
Actually,
I love Love Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never watched it. What were you gonna say?
everybody talks about that
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we should watch that. Number 12, Christmas with the Cranks. 13, Santa Claus, the movie.
Oh.
Number 14, The Christmas Chronicles. And number 15 is Home Alone 2. But you get an extra point if you can give the full title. It's Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. So bonus point if you got that the subtitle to it. Okay, so
you don't get anything for it.
no. Well, yeah, call me Grinch. Whatever. You win this one. I'll mail you Walter. Okay. So total here, counting the bonus, would be 16 if you got them all. Anybody get 16? Anybody? Anybody? Anybody?
No.
How about 15? Anybody? 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 14.
Anybody have any double digits at all?
I think maybe you ought to start at 1.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's say, did anybody get more than 10? No.
No.
Anybody get more than 8? Geez, you guys don't watch many movies. Anybody get 7?
I got 7.
Yay!
I did too.
Oh, we got a tie. Now, did either one of you get the last one with the bonus?
I got Home Alone too, but not after the colon.
No, I didn't get it.
That was good. So I guess our highest number then is a tie at 7, right?
No,
Anybody?
Virginia, hang on, Virginia had 8.
Who had 8?
I had 10.
Oh,
Oh,
Who? Virginia, is that you? That's
That's me. Yeah,
Okay.
10.
all right.
Anybody beat?
congratulations.
No?
Thank you.
All right, Virginia, you win.
Great.
Here, air. Okay, so that was a little bit more fun. What else is on my party agenda? Oh, okay, so anybody got something that sticks out for you every year at Christmas time? We've already talked about what you do at Christmas, but is there a special memory or some tradition or something that you follow every year that you want to share with us? Let's see. Who can I go to first? Christine, do you have anything that sticks out in your mind that comes up every year at Christmas?
No, I can't really think of anything in particular. We have breakfast on Christmas morning because we're usually up at about 6:45 with the grandchildren because they live with us, and so we have breakfast and we have smoked salmon and scrambled egg and caviar, which everybody looks forward to.
Ooh.
And then
Yeah.
and then the only other sort of tradition is we don't, well, the children have their stocking in the morning, which is not anymore a stocking. It doesn't even fit in a sack. So, I mean, it's a lot of presents. And then they don't have anything from under the tree. until after the Queen. So we have lunch, we clear up from lunch, we go and watch the Queen, and they sit perfectly still and quiet through the Queen.
It's the Queen.
Otherwise they don't get the presents under the tree. and then we have the presents under the tree. And then by the time that's finished, it's time for tea, usually. And we go back down into the kitchen and we have mince pies and tea and cold ham or cold turkey or something like that. So it's not, I think a lot of people do similar, especially in England anyway.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
One thing I will say though is about my Christmas tree. My Christmas tree is, every ornament on there is glass, and I collect this from every place I travel to. So if I'm, I've got stuff from Japan, I've got stuff from New Orleans, Canada. I've got china or glass ornaments from all over the world. And when I decorate my tree, it brings back those memories of those holidays that I've had.
That's nice.
Which is lovely.
Yeah, that's really kind of nice. We collect little things from everywhere that we go to, but we have it on a buffet upstairs where I have a little, people think it's my Christmas village, and they come in like July when we could get together and say, how come your Christmas village is still up? And I say, it's not a Christmas village. It just looks like a Christmas village. It's those little houses, that you see. The ones I have are called Department 56, I think, or something. They're kind of collector things that my mother got me started on many years ago. I don't collect them anymore, but every place we go in the world, we buy some little miniature thing, and it sits there as well amongst all these houses and everything. So similar idea to putting them on your Christmas tree, except mine sit on my buffet all year out. Now, Walter wanted to add something to this discussion. What was your idea?
I want to see if you had a favorite memory.
Okay, yeah, but a favorite, yeah. So favorite tradition, favorite memory, whatever. I thought that's what I said in here. Oh, well, your pee-pee long stockings are stuck in your ear. Whatever. So, who's next? Marilyn, do you have a favorite memory or whatever, a tradition or something?
Well, I think back, we used to live in a suburb, my ex-husband and I have the 4 kids, and we lived in a suburb of Cleveland. And his family and our family was all in Chicago. So they all came to Cleveland, and it was just like that movie, Christmas Vacation. It turned out it was just a nightmare. It started out great, but by Christmas Day, we were all sitting in church, and everybody's like mad at, it was just so funny. It was, I think that's one of the best memories.
I'm going to say, did the cat eat through the Christmas tree?
Oh my God.
Fun. Dana Lee, unmute yourself there, and I'll get you in the spotlight. Okay, I'm not getting you in the spotlight. There you go. Replace spotlight. There we go. Go ahead, Dana Lee, what you got?
Well, my memories go back to when my grandparents were alive. They lived in a house just beautiful on the estate in Bronte, Ontario. And the house was big, and the tree was beautifully decorated, and they had a grandfather clock that would ding every hour.
That'd keep you up.
It would, the food was delicious, and everybody was there, and it was just a wonderful family time with your grandparents on my father's side, and then never met my grandfather on my mother's side, but Nana would always come as well. So literally the whole family was there, including and everything, and that was
It sounds nice.
It was.
Kind of reminds me of what we used to do too. Okay, thank you. Andy. Any,
Well, I want to share a Christmas memory.
Christmas
Is
in
this-
February.
Yes, and this I was, I think, 6 years old at the time, but that year my our dad was stationed in Korea, so he wasn't home for Christmas. Dad always picked out the Christmas trees, and they were always very, very pretty. They were perfectly formed and full. Well, this particular year, and we always had the Christmas tree in a den. In our house, off of the living room, there was a wood paneled den, and so the Christmas tree was always in that den. Well, this particular year, my mother and my aunt got the Christmas tree, and there are two reasons why I remember this tree. Number one, they put it in the dining room and in a corner and not in the den. And the second reason why I remember this Christmas tree is because it had a gaping hole on one side. It was missing branches. So my mother and my aunt turned the tree so that the part of the tree that was missing branches was facing into the corner. And after that, I always would tease my mom and say to her, "Thank goodness Dad picks out the Christmas trees." But if memory serves me correctly, I think when we were growing up, that was the only Christmas that my dad wasn't home with us for Christmas. I think that's the one that sticks out.
Yep, that's probably why, because he wasn't home. So, yeah.
And the awful Christmas tree and the tree in the den.
Okay, thank you for that. And Anita and Keith, you're going to be in the spotlight here.
Okay.
Okay, you're in.
All right.
Right.
Well, do you want to?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking back. One of my favorite Christmases growing up as an Air Force brat. We were in Tachikawa suburb of Tokyo. I was in. This was in fourth grade, if I remember, back in '68, and it was a bad year for the family. Was sick. We all had the Hong Kong flu, but it was still a magical Christmas because I remember my parents were able to pick up a lot of just neat things. I don't know, it was just kind of a special memory. I remember getting a Seiko watch, which I was very proud of. I wore that for many years growing up. And, just the old shortwave radio, kind of getting into that, just growing up, and a mechanical drawing set. Just that was just one of those things. Just kind of just sparked some interest.
Yeah, you did well at that Christmas, didn't you? Santa was good to you. Anything for you?
Well, something that we enjoyed here in our household was the boys love to watch A Christmas Story about the boy with the Red Ryder BB gun. And
based in Cleveland.
Yeah, based in Cleveland. And then the Christmas Vacation movie. And but it just came to me, there is a family story that that will live in the annals of family stories. One year we had just gotten home from the Christmas Eve family celebration with everyone and all of the cousins and everything and kids, and my phone rang and I was like, gosh, it was almost midnight. Who could that be? And it was my sister. And she was laughing hysterically. And she said, oh my gosh. She said, Dad is so mad right now. And I'm like, why is Dad mad? And she said, well, after you guys left, he went back in his bedroom and to go into their bathroom to use the bathroom. And our youngest one, Josh, had been in there and he had discovered a can of shaving cream. And I guess he had spray painted the entire bathroom because we didn't have shaving cream here.
No, we didn't.
Keith used a
Electric razor for many
electric
years,
razor.
still do.
And the boys had gone back to use the bathroom before we left. And so Dad was back there wiping down the bathroom with all the shaving cream. So to this day, that's one of the family stories.
Yeah, we will remember that. One.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
have-
I think so.
Do you remember when?
Yeah, when they filled the bathroom full of shaving cream.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's a nice story. Let's see, who haven't I done yet? Jeannie. Replace that.
Let's see. Okay, this box is 50 years old.
Wow.
And in it is part of my ongoing 50-year tradition.
Aw.
Andy made me all of these beautiful ornaments that go on my tree every year.
Aw.
So they're among my greatest possessions. She can tell you how she made them.
Counted cross stitch.
I didn't know you still had those.
Well, they're on my tree every year.
But I'm never there, so I don't get to see your tree.
Yeah, well, they're on every year.
Aw.
Yeah,
They really does. Are they cross stitch?
Yes.
My sister does.
Andy,
cross.
what did you make her this year?
I'm sorry.
What did you make me this year?
This is another family tradition where Jeannie will spend, she's like a dog with a bone. She wants to find out what she's getting for Christmas every year. And we go through this all the time. What did you get me? I'm telling her. But if I'm feeling particularly kind, I give her hints that are nearly impossible for her to guess.
Do you have a hint for this year?
Warm and snuggly.
Ooh.
Ooh.
See, that's the face. That's the face I go for. This is what she does. Her forehead furls and then her eyes go like this. So I know I got her.
Oh, we'll have to.
But I'm gonna give you another chance. I'll give you another chance.
That's kind of you, but that's okay. I won't take.
Okay, so
I'll save that for next year.
the next Stephen and Walter live then after Christmas, they'll have to tell us what you got and whether or not you guessed it correctly or not too.
Warm and, I mean, from her, it could be anything. She gives the most wonderful gifts.
Oh, I'll send you my address, okay? Because you guess what Walter's giving me for Christmas? Nothing. That's what I'm giving him.
I thought you all didn't exchange gifts because you all buy yourselves what you want all through the year anyway.
Yeah, that's right. We're not. We're not giving gifts. We do this every year.
Well, no, last year we did give each other some gifts, but because you said that you didn't like not getting any gifts.
Well, that's what I thought. You know, it
But
made
then
the
this
day
year it was
anything
hard
hard.
to do shopping, so discreetly, so.
And the other
we
problem is
decided
it's
not to.
well, it's also hard to buy for each other because, like we said, if we want it, we buy it ourselves. So, you know, we don't wait around for the other one to buy us as a gift. So,
Yeah, so then you end up getting a lot of stuff you don't really want.
I mean, he has the best gift of all, anyways, 365 days a year. Do I need to say more? Yeah. I see that. Yeah. Okay, Virginia, you have a Christmas tradition or favorite memory you want to share with us?
Well, I went through a couple, but the one thing that really stuck in my mind was that even if you opened up presents on Christmas Day at my house when I was little, you weren't quite sure what you were getting because the box on the outside was recycled and it was never whatever was inside the box. And so that was always a big joke. You know, it's like, oh, I'm getting a pair of shoes. And then you'd have to open up the box and see what it was.
Of course, if it said toilet paper on the outside, you're probably really happy it wasn't the right box.
Yeah, because my parents were really thrifty after, you know, they were children of the Depression. And so all the wrapping paper got flattened out and folded up and saved for another year.
Wow.
And all the boxes went up in the attic and were saved to reuse. And the tinsel on the tree, it was always a real tree, but we had, the tinsel was kind of like crinkly and aluminum.
Yeah.
And we'd use that year after year. We'd hang it on the tree. And then when Christmas was over, we'd take it off and carefully, it had to be just so, we had to carefully get it back together in the strands to put in the box.
Yep.
Save for another year.
Yeah.
Your family wasn't the only one that did that. That's what we did in my family
Yeah.
too.
That's what
Yep.
we did.
Yep.
We folded up all
Yep.
the paper for use the next year. So.
But we did it with the tinsel too. My mother was very particular. You never just threw clumps of it on the tree. You had to put it on strand by strand.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And then at the end, when we took down the tree, you had to put it back on that little cardboard spool thing, you know, strand by strand.
Yeah.
Yep. And we had Christmas bags too that we reused every year too. In fact, we used to try to guess. Oh, I remember that bag. That was from 2 years ago or something.
Needless to say, I never used pencil in my house at all.
No, couldn't reuse that. That was used up.
I carried on that tradition with my children.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't put tinsel on my tree either. I did for years, but nah, it's just a pain in the butt and not doing that. So, and when I took it off the tree, I threw it away. Yeah. So
Stephen, when you all had your cat, did you find your cat would try to eat the tinsel?
that was the other reason. We didn't have it.
Yeah, mine would. Yeah.
Because, you know, then she'd go to the litter box and you'd have lovely little gift wrappings.
Yeah.
Not good for them to eat that either.
No.
Nope.
No, we did not like to do that either. Okay, so
In England, we call that lametta.
what's it called?
Lynetta?
Lynetta?
Lametta.
Lynetta.
Ah.
I've never
Lametta.
heard that.
Lametta.
Oh,
Lametta. And the tinsel, what we call tinsel, is the long strands of, long strands of different color, glitter, red, gold, green, that you hang around the tree.
Yeah.
Oh.
You sort of loop
okay.
that red.
Right, garland. We call
throw-
it garland. Right.
What we grow on the tree in those strands is called
Mm.
lametta. And my daughter absolutely hates it. Absolutely hates it. And if I mention lametta leading up to Christmas, she says, no, you're not buying more lametta, because that's exactly what I used to do. Was I had to have it absolutely perfect. And then I had a long sheet of sellotape and I stuck each strand onto the sellotape and then folded it over and kept it for the following year. And it got shorter and shorter as the
Would you still try to hang it? I would still try to hang the little teeny strand.
Yeah, like 2 inches, and I would still be hanging it over. No, anyway,
And
she
it would stick out like
she
this.
stopped me. She stopped me from taking it off and saving it because I bought so much. I had loads of it. So after it, we got a field here joined onto our house, a paddock, and our Christmas tree would go outside onto the patio, which leads onto the paddock, and you could go around in July and you would find this lametta still in the hedgerows around the paddock where it had blown across.
Oh,
It's
geez.
quite nice.
Yeah,
in
well,
July.
nice in July. Yeah, it would glitter in the sun, that kind of thing. Okay, did I miss anybody? Did I get everybody? I guess I did. Jody's gone. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, she must have to go somewhere. Um, okay, well, thanks everybody for that. Now, what I remember about Christmas is my parents always had this thing about setting up um, the toys that Santa brought when we still believed in Santa, and that even after we stopped believing in Santa, uh, they would set everything up like a toy store window around the Christmas tree. The stuff that Santa brought us was not wrapped up. It was in its boxes, like that it would come in the store or whatever, and all laid out. And there were three of us. So there were three separate piles of stuff. But of course, being kids, we couldn't sleep on Christmas Eve, right? And so we'd be awake at 5 a.m. and it would start with, can we get up? Because my father said nobody was to get up and go downstairs to the Christmas tree until everybody was up. And so we'd start at 5. Is it time yet? And my mother would say, no, it's not time yet. Go back to bed. Go to sleep.
Yeah, we don't like that.
Yep. And as I got older, because I was the oldest one, and my brother is 4 years younger than me, and my sister's 8 years younger than me, I would get my brother to do it because he was at an age where it was easy to convince him to do things. So he would start it. The same answer would come. Well, then he got older, and so there was still my sister. So we would get her to do it, but we'd get her to get out of bed and go into my parents' room and bug them. So finally we'd be able to get up at probably 6 o'clock in the morning. But the rule was my father went downstairs first to put on the Christmas tree lights. And he would always say the same thing every year. He'd come back and goes, you might as well go back to bed because Santa didn't bother to come. So there's no sense going down there. Of course, we go racing down the stairs, and those stairs were steep. It's wonder not in all those years, we never fell once. Because I don't think we hit a step from the first one to the bottom one all the way. We just flew down there. And that I'll always remember that. That's always been one of my best Christmas memories, is how much time my parents spent, getting everything in display window format. I mean, I don't know how many hours they were up to at night. Some assembly required, But I always remember that. When I met you, though, your parents did strange things. You had Christmas Eve.
No, what happened was I was the youngest of 3 kids. And so my oldest sister was 12 years older than me, and my youngest sister was 7 years older than me. So I was the baby run to the family. So by the time Christmas came around for me, we had Christmas mornings till I was about 6 or 7 years old. And then after that, my sister when I turned 8, my sister got married, and she was 20. So, so then we had brother-in-laws and stuff like that. And they convinced my parents to start doing Christmas on Christmas Eve, opening presents on Christmas Eve, because then they were free to go to the in-laws on Christmas Day. So, but I do remember when I was younger, my sisters would always shake the boxes to try and figure out what was inside of them. So I picked up on that. Right? So when I was a little kid, I'd shake the boxes and try and figure out what was in them and stuff like that.
And that's how you killed the puppy.
No, and then and one Christmas that really stood out to me was when I think I was about 6. There was only one present under the Christmas tree for me, and it was this little tiny wrapping, and it felt like a giant chocolate bar. That's all it felt like, right? In this wrapping, and I thought, is that all I'm getting for Christmas? And so we got up and in the morning for Christmas, and I opened this present, and it was a giant chocolate bar. That's all it was there, right? And then my dad disappeared downstairs, and he brought up this great big huge toboggan hidden downstairs for me. So there I was disappointed, but then I was really amazed that I got this great big toboggan. So it was one of the more memorable Christmases for me.
Yeah, well,
But then I had a sister. My sister was 12 years older than me. She was never happy. Every Christmas she would pick a fight.
yeah, well, that would be your sister. Yeah, that sister.
So,
She's no longer with us. She passed away. Oh
in
well.
2006.
Steve.
But I still remember that all the time. Christmas has been peaceful since she's passed away.
Yes, it has been. Anyways, oh yeah, one thing too, someone was talking about, going to the in-laws or for dinner and stuff like that. Well, we used to eat so much at Christmas on Christmas Day. We would get up, do all this stuff I told you about, and then my mother would cook us a big breakfast kind of a thing. And then we all had to get ready to go to my grandparents for Christmas lunch. And that we went to my mother's place. My grandfather, her father, had passed away in 1959, so I never really knew him. I was only 2 when he passed away. But we'd go to my grandmother's, and my uncle would be there, my mother's brother, and years later, his wife and their 2 kids and everything. And we'd have this big spread at lunchtime, the turkey, the whole bit. And then we'd open presents there, and we'd spend the afternoon there. And then around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we would travel to my other grandmother's place, which was in the same town. And we would have another huge meal there. And we would spend overnight. Well, we'd probably spend a weekend, well, whatever it was, a couple of nights at my grandmother Bland's place. She was my favorite grandmother, anyways. My other grandmother was very, very particular and very, very, how do you say it, prissy. My grandmother Bland was the exact opposite. She was a lot of fun with that. But we had these 2 huge meals in a day. We were stuffed. And the ironic part of the whole thing was my grandparents on both sides of my family live about a half a mile away from each other. Now, in later years, my grandmother Barnum, my mother's mother, we'd pick her up and take her over to my other grandmother's. And it was just weird. To this day, I still don't understand why we did that. But we just,
well, you were lucky. You had grandparents to go to. Whereas my immigrated from Holland in 1954. So the only family I had in Canada were actually my parents and my 2 sisters. So we never went to grandparents at Christmas time.
Well, you're lost.
I only saw my grandparents a couple of times in my life, but when we went back to home, so.
Well, anyways, it's nice to have these memories, though. And I think this year, because we can't do what we normally would do, we'll just have to live with our memories to get us through this Christmas and then make more. Well, actually, this will become a memory. It may not be a good memory, but it will be a memory. We'll remember 2020 Christmas for sure for the rest of our lives. I'm sure of that. But
I call it the COVID Christmas.
Yeah, the COVID.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, really. So, time for one more game. So this one is a quickie. It's a Christmas music quiz, and it's just all you have to do is guess this Christmas song. They'll play it for you, and there are 15 of them, and most of these are pretty easy, I think. So we'll soon find out. So share this. And find the right thing.
15 of them.
We did that one here. Christmas music. And here we go.
Goodness.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You only got
Did.
four
That
notes.
was the hard one. You hear it and you go, I've heard that before, but title.
Right.
So, number one, all I want for Christmas is you. Number two, Last Christmas. Number three, Driving Home for Christmas. Number four, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. Number five, Jingle Bell Rock. Number six, Jingle Bells. Number seven, Thank God It's Christmas. Number eight, Wonderful Christmas Time. 9, It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. 10, It's the most wonderful time of the year. Number 11, Santa Tell Me. Number 12, Christmas, please, or baby, please. Wait, let me do that again. Number 12, Christmas, baby, please come home. Number 13, do they know it's Christmas? 14, Happy Christmas, and in brackets, War is Over. I never knew that that was the full title of that one. And number 15, Sleigh Ride. So add up your total.
Didn't do good at all.
Didn't either.
Did anybody get more than 10 right? No. More than 5 right?
I got 6.
Okay, 6. Can anybody beat 6?
7.
7. Can anybody beat 7? Nope. 7. It looks like then, Christy,
7.
you are the winner.
Yay!
Yay! And your prize this time is all the water you can drink. Okay, that's great. All right, so we're coming kind of to the end of our little Christmas thingy here today, but we have a special day coming up tomorrow for Walter and I. It is our anniversary tomorrow.
Oh,
Awesome.
You want to guess how many years? Anybody?
39.
39.
Darn close.
Is it how many years you've been together or how many years you've been married?
Well, this is the anniversary. We have actually 2 anniversaries. This is the one
Right.
that's most important to us. We have a wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
We've been legally married for 15 years. But this is the more important anniversary. It's how many years we've been together. It's 37.
Yeah.
37, okay.
I was thinking at least
If you
31.
don't believe me, I'm going to cut off Walter's leg and we'll count the rings. Well,
Sometimes
I
I'd love to
say-
see. Sometimes I'd love to see
Yeah.
pictures of the two of you when you first got together.
oh God.
Oh, yeah, we've got a few of those.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Let's just say there's a real classic picture of when we first met. Our first trip together was to drive across Canada, right to BC and back again.
And we drove back through the northern US.
Yeah, we drove back through the northern US. But when we were out in BC, we went up on the top of a mountain out there. It was July. And there was some snow up there. Well, I used to have my hair. That was the very early 80s. So you remember a group called Flock of Seagulls?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, my hair was Flock of Seagulls. I was darker in those days. I wasn't white like I am now. But I had the white put in. I had my hair streaked. And just before we went out west, I had it all done again. And the guy who was doing it, he pulled it. Those were the days when they used to streak your hair by putting a plastic cap over your head and pulling the hair out, the crochet hook.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he put too much color in my hair and I went platinum blonde. So there's a picture of me standing in front of a snowbank on this mountain, with a snowball in my hand, wearing a pair of shorts. You can't see my face because it's all blended. And there's a picture of Walter.
And I had a full head of hair.
Yeah, he had a full head of hair. There's a picture of him at Wall's drugstore in North Dakota
Oh yeah,
or South Dakota.
South Dakota.
South Dakota.
You hear about it all over. You see signs. We'd never heard of it until that trip, and you see these signs saying you're like 1,000 miles from Wall, and this. So we had to stop. So we did. We stayed in Wall.
Yeah, we did too.
So did we.
But in their little country western little downtown kind of thing that they had, there was a statue of some. I think she was supposed to be a saloon girl. It was just a plaster thing sitting on a bench. There's a picture of him sitting next to her with his arm around her, twiddling one of her.
Oh gosh.
There's also a picture of a giant jackrabbit.
You sat on the jack. Yeah,
yeah.
the big thing that was there. Yeah. Oh, those pictures are to die for, believe me. And all those pictures were taken using. Were they on slides or?
Yeah, they were on slides.
Yeah, we used to take slides in those days with 35
I copied
millimeter
them
cameras.
over on digital now, so we have copies of them. Should show them sometime.
Next time we do a live, like that, and then I can put up as a screen share. Well, you'll just die laughing at me.
Yeah.
I want to see them, but
So how
whatever.
did you two meet in the first place?
Oh, well, let's say we did it the old-fashioned way. I put an ad in the newspaper in the personnel column.
In the major newspaper in Toronto, which was Toronto Star.
Yeah,
Toronto Star?
yeah, Toronto Star. That was how things were done in those days. This is like 1983. And he answered it. And I had several answers actually. And I don't know what I was looking for at the time. I think I had these grandiose ideas. I was going to meet the knight in shining armor kind of a thing and all of this. And well, he was the last one to answer, and I was getting very discouraged. But he was local in the area. Like I lived in a town called Whitby, which is right next door to Oshawa. That's really where I grew up. And he lived in Oshawa, where we live now. And he showed up on my doorstep. And well, I talked to him on the phone first, and I thought he sounds like an accountant or something. Sounds kind of boring. And he walked in. He came to my place. I opened the door. And I took one look and went, yeah, he kind of sounds like his voice sounds. It looks like his voice sounds like kind of thing. But anyways, he came in and we spent the evening talking, having some wine and that. And I thought, he'd be kind of an okay person to be kind of someone to go to the show with, have dinner out with, because at that point, I really didn't know a lot of people. I had only been out of university for 2 years. I was teaching. Most of my friends had all been at university and they were all over the place now. So I was kind of lonely.
Yeah, and I was all my friends were off getting married, so I was sort of on my own. I had just bought a house on my own, and so I was just looking for somebody to hang around with. So
When I found out he had his own house, I thought, oh, he's rich. Okay, hang on to this one. No. I lived in a.
What did you do for a career, Walter?
what did I do for a career? Somebody said,
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked for actually at the time I worked for an insurance company, and I was a software developer. So and that's pretty much my career all my life was software development for corporation.
Wow. Then you worked for the government doing that.
Yeah, I did. I worked for an insurance company for 9 years. It was Aetna Canada. It was a offshoot from Aetna in the United States. And then I worked for the provincial government for 30 years after that. I worked 9 years in Toronto and 30 years for the government.
And then when we,
You know,
yeah.
Sorry, McDonnell Douglas, the airplane people in the States, I think it is. You know them, McDonnell Douglas?
Yep, yep.
They created a software package for the British MOD, and I worked for the British MOD, and I used to go on their courses and then come back to where I was, the place where I worked, and then I used to train everybody else how to use that software.
Wow.
Which was a lovely job. Lovely.
Oh, yeah.
They used to fly me around the country in a tiny little aeroplane. It was really good.
Oh. You mean that seriously, or are you being facetious?
Oh no, definitely, yeah. I sat with the pilot a couple of times, and one time when I was sat, I mean, it was, I don't know, it was like a 6 or a 12 seater. It was a real small airplane.
Yeah.
And I sat with the, because I was the only woman there, so the pilot said, come and sit up the front with me. And I had the headphones on and was chatting to him and that. And he had the, I mean, I don't even know what you call it, but like the steering wheel.
Yeah.
The yoke.
Held by his knee. And he was writing on this clipboard some details or whatever. And he turned to me and he said, can you hang on to that? And I said, no, and I'm backing away from this, you know, from the controls. I said, no, I don't want to touch anything. I'd have been down in the sea, I think. But yeah, it was very good. It was a lovely job.
Oh, that sounds really quite interesting. Yeah, so anyways, that's basically how we met. And then we went out west, as I said, that first summer. And after we'd met, and that kind of sealed everything at that point. But we still did not live together for 4 years. He had his house. He calls it a house. It was a semi. Don't want you to think he had a living in a great. I married him because he had money, although now I'm just waiting until his investments get up a little higher, then I'll poison him. But anyways, what was I going to say? And I lived in an apartment, and so we bought our first house together 4 years later, and this is our second house that we're in now. But yeah, and we, you know, the 80s were a different time period. If anybody had known that I was in a relationship with a man, I would have been fired from my job as a teacher.
Right.
There was no protection. It was before we had the Charter of Human Rights in Canada, which protected us, that do now, and all that kind of stuff. It was a different time, so everything we did had to be very underground and very secretive.
So, Stephen, what was the advert that you put in then? What did you say in the advert?
I said, well, the first thing was I didn't want to put it, they had a section where it started with the word gay, and I didn't want that. In those days, the whole idea of a gay lifestyle was very foreign to me, because I didn't know what it really was. I just saw what you saw occasionally on TV and what people said. And I came from a fairly well, I don't know if my family was that conservative, but you know, I was raised up in the church and the whole bit, Presbyterian. And so if I didn't want the word gay to appear in the ad, so I put something to the effect
You think
of,
professional male.
yeah, professional male seeks sane for socializing is how I put it. And I got 40 answers for this. Actually, it was exciting for 2 weeks getting my mail because they put it all in every letter that came in on that day to the newspaper. They would put it in a plain brown envelope and address it to you. And it came through. I was a little afraid about how this was going to be delivered because I lived in a triplex, 3 apartments, and I didn't want anybody. I was 2 blocks away from the school I was teaching at. I didn't want anybody to have any idea whatsoever about me. So, but it just came addressed. It slipped through. We had a common slot at the front of the door, so all our mail fell on the floor, and you know, whoever was down there first sort of sorted it out. And I got some weird stuff, I can tell you. And I regret to this day that I didn't save it because now it would be hilarious. But at the time, I was so paranoid that I destroyed all of that stuff. And 40 letters, 10 I actually contacted, 6 I actually met, only 1 was I had any interest in. And it was the absolute, on the last day that the mailbox could be open that I'd get any more mail from, I had a single letter. It was his.
Ah,
And he'd been carrying it around in his pocket for days before. And he went, what? He went someplace.
Yeah, we went out for drinks after work, and I got the nerve to email it.
If he'd mailed it a day later, I would never have gotten it.
Wow.
So I guess it was meant to be. Such
Yeah.
How long was that? I'm being nosy. How long was that between meeting and being able to tell people that you were a couple?
We didn't, it depends, both of us did it differently. So.
Yeah, we both did it differently. There was a lot of stuff went through it. I told the people that I was working with at my school about, let's see, we were in the house. So it was probably just after we got in the house. So it was about 5 years later that I told them. And the thing was, I figured they'd already figured this all out. They knew Walter, they'd met him because we used to go out on Friday nights after school and do what teachers do best, drink. And he used to come after work and join us in the whole bit. And they were a good bunch of people. They weren't just my colleagues. They became friends too. And I just came out with it. Well, actually, what they were doing is they were speculating about another teacher that had just come to the school. And I felt like a hypocrite because I was sitting there like doing what they were doing. They weren't being negative or derogatory about it. They were just trying to figure out. And then I finally said, you know, I know that guy is gay because you know why? Because I am too. And it was silence for only a second. And they went, well, that's okay. We don't care. We know you. That doesn't matter one way or the other. And then I realized they didn't have a clue. They never put 2 and 2 together. And
even though they knew the 2 of us were sharing the house.
Yeah, they never put 2 and 2 together. So from then on, it became, well, of course, in Canada then too, at the same time, everything was being protected and all that kind of stuff through the Charter of Rights. And then I just decided no more was I going to live my life in a closet. I couldn't be fired for being gay at that point then. And what did it matter? And
I don't know. I always still kept it pretty private, unless I didn't like to advertise. So
well, I didn't go out with a big banner and going hi.
So like if
Yeah, big difference.
Like now when they've got pride marches and things.
Yeah, well, we did go those, but we weren't really in them. We just watched them. But in Toronto, because it's the big one, huge one in Toronto every year, we stopped going to those.
Yeah.
Years ago. But no, I just decided if people were going to ask me up front, I wasn't going to lie. And I didn't. And then I moved schools to another one. And that one, I just decided, you know, didn't matter who knew. Now, I didn't really tell the kids in the school. It was none of their business, really. And kids being, like I taught high school, so they're older kids. They could speculate all they wanted, but I wasn't going to get involved in that at that point in time. But then when I went to my last school, I actually started and ran what they call a GSA, a Gay Straight Alliance, in the school. And all the kids, everybody knew there wasn't a problem with any of that at that point. So it's the way it evolved over time. And now,
Yeah.
I mean, after we got married, it took a while for me to get used to the term husband. And say, when I introduce Walter to people that, we just met or something, so, oh, hi, my name is Stephen. This is my husband, Walter. And I sometimes would catch on the word husband because we never ever thought we could ever get married. In fact, we never ever really wanted to. But then, it was payback. As I tell people, it was payback for all the straight weddings we went to and the gifts. It was our turn to get gifts.
Yeah.
But, well, we got married more or less because there were certain things in the law. Even if in Canada, we have common law.
Right.
Right.
Somebody for a couple of years, you're basically married in terms of in the eyes of the law. But there are
Yeah,
certain
it doesn't
things that
matter whether two guys together. Or
doesn't matter. Yeah.
two women or two or opposite sex. You're still considered common law.
So we decided, though, by getting married, there were a couple of loopholes in the law that would be sealed up by doing that. And so we did. That's mainly why we got married. But, it wasn't something that was on our radar because we never thought it was going to be a possibility. So, the rest is history. But anyway, and guess what we're doing for our anniversary tomorrow night? Walter
Nice.
online class, sewing class. So we're putting our annual anniversary dinner off until Tuesday night. So we don't do that much with it anyways. I think we're having surf and turf tomorrow night.
Oh,
Or it's Tuesday night.
Oh.
Yeah, when we do that. But
Are you going to cook in this, what is it, the sous vide?
yes.
yeah, he will do it in the sous vide. We've
Okay.
got a couple of lobster tails and some meat.
Yeah, some
Beef tenderloin. Yeah. Filet mignon kind of a thing, and do that. We got a couple of bottles of champagne, and we'll just do that kind of a thing, and then probably fall asleep. It's so exciting out of it all. But actually, we usually go out, but we can't this year. No.
True.
Yesterday, I had a birthday.
Oh,
happy birthday.
happy
That's-
birthday.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
So,
So-
how many times 29?
Yeah, she's been 29
So for a while.
for a few years.
Actually, my youngest son, I always said he kind of had his head in the clouds. Someone that goes along and you wonder sometimes how they
Yeah.
get through the day.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
said to me back in August when Keith had a birthday, and I mentioned it, I said, hey, it's Keith's birthday, Sunday, and he'll be 62.
Yeah.
And Josh said, Keith is Josh's, stepdad, the boy's stepdad anyway. But he Said, oh my God, I didn't realize he was that old. And I kind of chuckled because I'm thinking, well, so's your mom.
Yeah.
And so then he said to me, he goes, Mom, he said, do kids usually know how old their parents are? And I said, well, eventually, yes,
Eventually, yeah.
Josh. And he said, well, some of my friends were asking me how old you and Keith. And I said, well, Josh, how old do you think I am? And he said, well, I don't know. He said, I go, well, I'll tell you. I said, I will be 62 in December. And he went,
Whoa.
what? My mother is in her 60s? And he was just floored. And he
Yeah.
said, I said, well, how old did you think I was? And he goes, I thought you were perpetual like 48 or 50.
Yeah.
So that's been our joke. And
Yeah,
this is the same kid that did spray the shaving cream in the bathroom.
Maybe
So,
that's
yeah.
out his nose. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just tell him 62 is the new 50.
Well,
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
True, it is in many ways.
Yeah, yeah. 62
So,
is not old.
yeah.
And I can say that because I'm older than that. So
Yeah.
Well, yesterday was.
I'm hoping 70 is the new 50.
Yeah.
what's that? Oh, what's that?
I said I'm hoping that 70 is the new 50.
Yeah,
You really,
we'd all hope
You
for
know.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it was quiet for I mean, normally we would have been downtown, especially on a Saturday
yeah, we would
night,
have been doing something,
with live music and all of our friends and
whatnot.
yeah, and especially the last weekend before
Oh,
Christmas.
big time here in town.
But instead, I had a little outing because I had not been out of the
Yeah.
house in 5 weeks.
5 weeks, yeah.
And we snuck in Joanne Fabrics, and I got a Somerset Studio magazine.
I used to subscribe to
Then
that.
we got her.
Yeah, and then I picked up a quilting, what is it? Art Studio quilting one. So that was my big night.
Yeah.
It's my birthday 4 days after Christmas on the 29th.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
So maybe I should
birthday.
suggest to my family. I suggest to my family that they take me to a fabric shop
Ah.
and buy some
Yeah.
goodies.
Don't you ever feel like when your birthday is so close to Christmas that you get to eat it?
You know,
I used to.
Yeah.
I get
Sorry,
asked,
go on.
I got asked that a lot, you know, and I said no, because it's the most festive time
Right.
of the year,
True.
and mine is 6 days before Christmas. And this is one of the first years I can remember in probably 45 years
Right.
that there wasn't a party to go to.
Right.
So,
Two next
yeah.
year. Two next year.
My birthday being on the 29th, it's in between. So like on Christmas Day, you know, we have all the family
Right.
and we have a party or kind of a party. On Boxing Day is
Right.
when the nephews and nieces and people come. So we have a bigger party on Boxing Day. And then my birthday is then on the 29th. And then you've got New Year on the 31st, which is a big party. So I'm worn out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
it's too much in the time.
Party.
And I think it was okay when I was younger and I would say in my late teens to say up to maybe about 30, because I really did party then, you know, and at Christmas, it was fantastic. And I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed my birthday then. But when I was younger, I used to have birthday presents wrapped up in Christmas wrapping paper.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I had
Mhm.
birthday cards with Christmas crossed out and birthday written underneath.
Yeah.
And some old aunties or sort of maybe a little bit more distant relative. I mean, it was good of them to even bother, but they would come and they would say Christmas Eve and bring presents for us children. And they would say, Christine, I bought you a bigger present because it's for your birthday as well. And I used to look and I used to think, that is no bigger than anybody else's.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I didn't think that mine might have cost £10 when everybody else's cost £5.
Right.
But it was the size of it, you know,
Yeah.
mine would be this size and my
Right.
sister's would be this size. And I would think, well,
It would
mine
be.
isn't bigger than anybody else's.
Yeah.
So, yes, so I didn't like my birthday when I was younger. I didn't like it at all.
No, I can see how you could feel ripped off.
Yeah. So it was only when I got to be a teenager, sort of late teenager, and I was going out partying on my own, you know. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, we all had days like that too. Now a party is, oh, I've had a beer. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a joke on Facebook, I think, the other day, and it said there was a time when I used to sneak out of the house to go to a party. Nowadays, I sneak out of the party to go home to bed.
Yeah.
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 That's right. Well, speaking of going to bed, people, I think we've come to the end. Thank you all for joining us. I hope we're a small group today, but that's okay. It's always quality, not quantity. Bullshit. If you believe that.
It's been
But I
wonderful.
hope you guys all have a really great Christmas. There will be a Stephen and Walter
Yeah,
Live
you
next
too.
Sunday, but it'll be a regular one on YouTube, not in Zoom. We save Zoom for special occasions. So by then, we've all have lived through Christmas Day at that time. So we'll all have our stories to say how we survived Christmas of 2020. So time, everybody, try and have a good Christmas in spite of everything that's going on. Great to see you all, and have a good one. We'll see you soon.
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Stephen, thanks, Walter.
Thanks
You're
again
welcome.
for
Thank
hosting.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.